Well, the Amsterdam Smart City project is basically about cooperation. So making sure that different companies, citizens and the city work together on reducing CO2 emissions. And we do that by creating a platform where all those companies can work together and initiate innovative solutions and test those on a large scale to really learn about cooperation, so the way how we work together.
The project has been started by a small organization which is funded by the City of Amsterdam with the Amsterdam Innovation Motor, which has the goal to start public-private partnerships. And because for cities most of the time it's pretty hard to do innovative things with companies, since you also have your role as a government, so there was a foundation funded. And they started a collaboration with a local energy company, the grid operator, and the idea was to start a program where there was not a bottom-up approach in terms of we started just doing things, but we also didn't want to do making a roadmap from the high end as well, because that's what you see most of the time. We make these roadmaps for 20 years. And we saw that technology is developing so quickly that it's not a bad roadmap for 20 years anymore. Obviously you build a road for 40, 50, 60 years or even longer. I mean, you don't move a road too often. But the way to start to think about differently about putting roads in or making more efficient use of the infrastructures you have is coming up as well. So what we wanted to do is make a platform which was not about inventing new technologies, because we tend to think technologies are in place. But the proper way to use new innovative solutions could be enabled by technology or making use of data and make different choices when you invest in your city. So we wanted to be the platform where small and medium entrepreneurs could practice with their solution, not only in terms of we have a brilliant device or a brilliant idea, but also we have a new business model. We want to have the incentive in the right place. I mean, when you look at energy, our main focus was energy in the first years, and when you see that 90% of the market is owned by 4 companies in the Netherlands selling energy to people, but there's not a single incentive for them to sell less energy. So in these types of business models, it's pretty hard to find a way. What we try to do is also to invent new business models, and all these collaborations we were talking about are the main driver behind that, because you need to collaborate in your ecosystems. It's not like you put in a windmill and you just give Vestas a call, you order a windmill and you put it in. But when you're in a city, in an urban environment, it's a much more complicated situation.
Of course, all cities should become more sustainable, and not in 20 years. They should start doing that right now. I think the smart part is really on the intelligence, on the way how you collect your data, how you work together, and I think at the end it's really the consumer who will drive the whole sustainability issue. And if there are enough products and solutions available for a good price, and then consumers will go for that and really demand those solutions. So at the end, I think it's the same, but smart is there's a lot more intelligence in it, and creating synergies between different projects.
I think we're now in a phase that we are beyond thinking about sustainability. I mean, I think we all agree on, well, people who are professional and work with the idea of developing cities, who read their newspapers and so on, not having discussions anymore if things should be sustainable. I mean, sustainability is a starting point for everything you should do. And then you need to look where's the innovation and where's the change that we need to enable, basically. And well, there's a lot to do, and that's what we try to focus on from a smart perspective, meaning getting the right intelligence so people can make smart choices.
It's not the challenge we solve, but I think that with this program we accelerate innovation. One of the examples, well, it's a small example, but I think it's a great one, was a guy who sent in a form saying he had a sort of liquid isolation foil for swimming pools to reduce the energy usage by 30%, but he couldn't get through because the government was looking at the province, and the province was looking at the swimming pool companies, and he never got a possibility to test it and to let it show. While in the US and the UK it was already been used for 10 years. So what we helped him in just setting up one pilot, and it clearly shows up. And now he's really into the whole Dutch market, and it's really those simple things that we, with this platform approach, we can help.
Well, I think I'll put it a bit more because actually what Joost says is absolutely how it works in practice, and when you put it at a more abstract level, I mean, we're both currently feeling into the ideas Jeremy Rifkin proposed about the third industrial revolution, about we go into a new economy, a new society, and I really think that smart cities are all about that basically. We're going to change our economic structures, incentives will be in the right place, and the reason why that's possible is that there is so much information available that we really know what to choose. I mean, the field of energy is pretty clear. I mean, smart energy grids are now in the implementation phase. Electric vehicles are now in the implementation phase. It's all about communications and technology as well. I mean, it's not about putting a plug in. No, you need to have a payment systems and so on. But I think the whole idea of smart cities, making more efficient use of the data that's available to make smarter choices, goes much farther. I think that we're even going to see this in the banking system. We don't have a clue where our money is at the moment. I mean, or your negative or your positive money, whatever. But it's when you have savings, I mean, you don't have a clue where it is right now. The bank just put it somewhere. Actually, they put it in the morning, they put it in Asia in the stock market, in the afternoon over here, and in the evening in the United States. So we don't have a clue. Why is that? Now we're in a phase that we do have the opportunity and the possibilities to follow our money if we wanted to. You make a choice about your money as well. So I think in all economic systems we have, energy, but also financial system even on the other hand, and everything in between, how to develop a city, how to collaborate with people. Technology is not the problem anymore, so we can do all these things, and in the end you want to. I mean, you want to know what's happening. I mean, I think it's a very basic idea that people want to have insight on the things that are happening. So I think a smart city will bring, the idea of a smart city will bring us to a new economy in a broader scale, with incentives in different places because you get more insight. And then the term smart city obviously is probably will be different in 5 to 10 years because it's now branded by all the bigger corporates. You have Smart Plus Connected, Intelligent Cities from Accenture, the Smarter World for IBM, even much bigger. The Smarter Universe probably will come up in the next wave. I mean, everybody is now misusing this term, but the idea to use resources in a broad sense, human resources, infrastructures, energy, in a more efficient way by using data and technology will be the big driver.
I think what cities truly can learn is that the whole approach, if you put it in differently and work more from a platform perspective instead of a top-down idea, that works. Of course, there are a lot of examples and failures we've created in this test lab. So there's a lot of things that other cities can learn from that.
Yeah, I think it's right. Well, there may be two things to emphasize. I mean, in one, it's about collaboration, and it's all these smart city programs in the world nowadays, where just one energy company with one government with one IT company think they're going to implement release 1.0 of the smart city. I mean, that's not going to work. I don't believe that. It's about a broad ecosystem with inhabitants, with SMEs, with bigger companies, and everybody should be included in your smart city developments. Obviously, you can have people who decide what way to go. A government has a role in that, but it's ecosystem thinking is very important. So, and secondly, is dare to screw up. I mean, we screwed up tons of things, and that's the best way to learn things. Because when you talk about taking all the risks away, you will never change anything.
And you will never get started.
And you will never get started. So we are basically screwed. Well, no, all of us, the ecosystem. No, we really screwed up things, and learned of it, and now you see that things are taking up, learned in that projects are the best takeoff for everybody actually.